All right, welcome back to Expectation versus Reality. I feel like this channel, maybe it's an example of bad expectation versus reality because you probably expected that it should have been named Jardon Reacts, but instead it's named Jordan Reacts. So I'm sorry if that's a disappointment to anybody, but we're too far in now. I can't really change it. Although YouTube won't let me turn the channel into youtube.com/Jordan Reacts. For some reason it says that it's like too many other channels that have similar names, except the name doesn't exist. It's really weird. Anyway, Paul Hollywood's Cockade. What? What is? I've never heard that word before. Is that a stack of cookies? Did anybody hear? Did anybody else know what a Cockade is? It sounds like another word that I don't want to say. Or is it a Krantz cake? Never heard of this, and it just looks like a stack of cookies to me. See, I think your problem here is that you've made a sludge that you've dripped over the entirety of your cookies, whereas these are just sprinkly flakes and then there's a frosting over them. But it doesn't look like over here there was any slathering of sludge. So I think you just did the wrong thing, which made it not. But if you smooth that out, there's so many things that you could have done here, okay? You brought this on yourself. You could have, I don't know, used like one of those frosting spreaders to just get it nice and even if that's what you were going for, but instead you just dripped it over and you're like, oh darn, it doesn't look like the original thing. Like, no duh. No duh. Thought this should be here as well. I was misled. Superglue. Wait. What the? I'm so confused. So like this whole thing is not the container, it's just it comes in a regular little Superglue squeeze tube, but they just make it look like a larger container. To be fair, does anybody really ever need a massive amount of Superglue at one time? Usually you throw away most of the tube when it comes to Superglue. You use like just a little bit to do whatever fix needs to be done, and then you're like, all right, I'm glad I didn't get it on my fingers. That's a victory. Now let's get rid of this stuff before it does any damage to someone. I wish I was making this up. Star Trek uniform t-shirt, Captain Kirk, Spock, Enterprise, Starfleet 3XL, 4XL, 5XL. Look at those SEO tag optimizations right there. And you have received the DHL shirt in the mail. See, I think here's what happened. Whoever was delivering your package for DHL, they saw what was inside. Maybe the envelope got torn or something, and they were like, oh, this is pretty cool. I like Star Trek. Oh, you got the yellow one? I bet they'll never notice. I'll just take off my shirt and just swap it out real quick. And then I get a Star Trek shirt, and then I can ask for a new uniform at work. Oh, this is the greatest deal ever. They'll never notice. So that's what happened. I'm sorry. It might have some odor on it. If it does, it's just because it was someone who was delivering packages all day. So don't mind that part. It's authentic, though. 'Tis the season. Did you bake it like after you put the frosting on? Because it really seems like it's expanded dramatically there for some reason. Or you just applied way too much, but there's nothing bad about that. It's still gonna taste like frosting, right? It's just not as pretty. But hey, if you have any like leftover cookies, didn't turn out up to plan, right? You're not really proud of them. You don't want to put them out on display for people to take. I'll store them for you in my stomach, and I'll only regret it a few hours later. Right now, it sounds really good. So, also, that's what I would probably look like if I tried to do this. It looks similar. There's just a lot of snow on this Christmas tree, okay? It's fine. It's just an interesting snow pattern. That's all. Kind of looks like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or Bowser or something like that. Those darn sporty exhaust tips. This is a super common thing on almost every car. In fact, I'm trying to think if any of my cars do this. Yeah, actually, the 458. The larger exhaust outlet tips that you think are the exhaust tips, if you look into those, there are 3 much, much smaller outlets that aren't connected to the big ones that you see at the back. So technically, even the 458 has a facade on it for the exhaust. The GT, no, those are the actual exhaust tips that you see. And the GT3 RS, yes, those are the actual exhaust tips. So the 458 has a facade not like this, where you don't even, like, at least the exhaust does go through them. It's not like it's going out somewhere else and you have completely fake outlets. This is on another level, but this is a very common thing. My C63 that I had, it's just body work. The quad tips and the body, it's like you look through them, and I can't even remember if there were actually 4 outlets or if it was 2 and they just do the quad just to make it look sportier in the bodywork. But this is pretty much every car out there, especially when you see quad exhaust tips on something that's like not a super duper sports car kind of deal. Generally, the quad exhaust tips are just bodywork, and then you can look through and you're like, yeah, there are actually only 2 in there, huh? Why'd they do the 4? It's just for looks, usually is. My mom tried to make a cute bear with towels at the hotel for the cradles. I need to practice a bit more, she said, while removing it before any baby could see it. It kind of looks like it's being bound up. Like this towel is just being held in place. Someone's kidnapped the towel and is like, all right, you stay here. I gotta go run some errands. Don't you dare escape. I'm being demonetized as we speak. Yeah, sure it's a bit of an art form, but at the same time, I bet you that whoever does these towels over here, they're able to do it in like 3 seconds a towel, something crazy like that, because they just do it so much. It's like when I see a video of someone who's an expert at folding shirts, and they just like pick up to the shirt by 2 corners, and then it's like whoop, and then the shirt's perfectly folded. Meanwhile, I just take my laundry out of the dryer and it stays in the laundry room in a pile, and that's where I fetch my clothes from. I'm not actually joking about that. I do fetch my clothing from the laundry room in a pile, and then it just goes into the hamper, and then I repeat the cycle, but it doesn't get folded and put into a drawer. So it kind of looks like that. This Matchbox boat is pretty basic compared to the picture. Yeah, it is. Also, it's teeny tiny. Wait a minute. I just had a revelation. Because I know Matchbox is a brand, but I always wondered where the name came from. Did they actually make figures or little things that came in a Matchbox-sized box? Oh my god. I was always wondering what the name had to do with what they manufactured, and now it all makes sense. And do they because I thought they manufactured bigger toys and stuff like that. I didn't realize that maybe this is what they started with. They began with things that actually came in Matchbox-sized boxes. At least I know that amongst the younger crowd watching this, maybe you're like, I don't even know what Matchbox is, so it's okay. You can't call me dumb. For those of you older who are like more familiar with this, feel free. Was not disappointed. I'm just having this to satisfy my sweet tooth at looking at this. Oh my god. Oh. I mean, this is really sweet. Wow, I want that. I want both. I want them all. That's amazing looking. I have no further comment other than it doesn't even matter to me which is the expectation, which is the reality. They both look amazing, and I have melted Snowman Biscuits. Yeah, it looks like you job well done. The only difference between the two is that the ones on top are better lit, but the ones on the bottom still look pretty tasty, and I eat them up. I wonder is this a marshmallow right there that's like cut in half? Maybe just trying to figure out the making process. It looks like a marshmallow. In fact, I don't know, the way that these are done here, maybe it's the lighting, but it almost looks like the snowmen are melting here. I know that's the idea, but it looks like it's almost more well executed melting effects here in the bottom one. And then you even added the one that's fully melted up here, which is very clever. So props for that. Wrong direction. One pair of socks. What? I mean, how did you expect for this to turn out, like, no matter what? I fail to see how you thought that any piece of fabric that or any design that's supposed to be a person's face that goes on a sock is gonna look good when you're wearing it. Like, it's gonna be either around or it's gonna be deformed weirdly on the... I could see how maybe you could get away with it if it was on the top surface of the foot, but even then there's gonna be some curvature. Like, there's no way that this is gonna turn out well. All right? you have to kind of visualize it before you get it. Like, oh, this seems good in concept, but I wonder why most socks that have like designs on them are usually little tiny little patterns, so that the individual elements aren't distorted when it's curved around the leg. Anyway, you tried. I feel like the horse on the right. Thanks, Amazon. What I ordered, what arrived in the mail. It looks like they combined like just, you know, the original sculpture there with some kind of meme where it's like the character with having dots. Like what would the emotion be? Like really shocked, like with the little tiny pupil dot eyes. I mean, it could have worked had it not been for the whole travesty of the little dot pupil eyes, because the rest of it is kind of okay. It's not as clear that this is supposed to be a horseshoe without the 3 dots there, but what I think happened is that they took the dots that were supposed to go on the horseshoe and they were like, what is this stamp or brush for? Oh, eyes, right, let's do that. And then you ended up with this. And then they also didn't paint some stuff, so yeah, sorry about that. It's a bit of a bummer. Very disappointing. Oddly satisfying 3-pound super stretchy slime. Oh, that doesn't seem very stretchy, does it? You see, your problem here is that you went and bought pre-made slime. You have to follow the instructions on YouTube or Instagram in order to make the perfect slime, so that then you can make Instagram and YouTube videos that get millions and billions and billions and trillions of views and make a living off of making slime and posting videos. Is that still in? Are the slime channels a thing, or was that like a flash in the pan? I'm sure there's still some that are getting massive views. I just don't know if it was a bit of a fad and now we're on to the next trend. Some ice cream. Yeah, I mean, that looks like the ice cream there. Just a lot of ice cream. I don't know. Before it's melted, it's probably pretty hard to mess up just putting a few scoops of ice cream. But it does look like that. Fair enough. All right, broccoli. Wow, that looks terrible. I'm so sorry. What the heck is that? Isn't that like a pretty major brand of broccoli? I guess it does say cut broccoli on the package. So if you cut up the head of the broccoli, it's just going to be a bunch of floury bits that are kind of scattered all over the place. So I guess the only way to really do cut broccoli without it being a gigantic mess is kind of to do it like this. But also they could have disclosed, hey, it's cut broccoli stems mostly, and then you would have been, it just, all it took was one word here that could have been used to modify it. Cut broccoli stems. And then you would have been like, oh yeah, that's what I was looking for. But instead you're like thinking from the outside, oh, it's just gonna be broccoli flowers, solid. No, not quite. Doesn't look nearly as appealing to put a picture of that on the front, does it? Sketch by Cassandra Kalin. Beanie. Expectation? Is that how? I don't know. I've never had that problem with a beanie. It's not that hard to wear. Christmas ice marbles. During winter, fill balloons with water and add food coloring. Once frozen, cut the balloons off and they look like giant marbles or Christmas decorations. Yeah, I don't know. How did they arrive at these? Like, what? So this looks like some kind of blown glass. This definitely looks a lot more reasonable as to how you would expect the thing to turn out. Like, I don't know who's sharing this, but this is either blown glass or someone's done some sort of fancy effect that caused that sort of blown glass look to appear. I don't know what happened over there, but it doesn't seem like just straight up put food coloring and water in a balloon, leave it. And nah, I don't think so. Like that's almost like semi-transparent, which their restaurants pay a decent amount of money often in order to have really, really clear ice cubes delivered to them for like old fashions. Because, you know, a nice old fashioned, if you've ever had one, you want it to come with a large, perfectly transparent ice cube. And this almost has those qualities, and it's not an easy thing to do. So, yeah. DIY bell cake. Yep. Looks like you achieved that. While it is well done, I don't enjoy these posts as much because it's like, You did it. I don't know what else to comment. You did a good job. You done did good. Cool. This is so outrageous, I just had to cross-post it here. Jameson and Ginger Ale. Just add friends. It seems that something has gone wrong here. I mean, yeah, it kind of looks like, in fairness, just based upon the image here, it's kind of like these proportions are a little off. You're generally gonna have more your mixer than the alcohol. So what we have here is actually probably more well proportioned to make a drink or two, but you do think here that at least you're like getting a larger bottle. I don't know, is this an advertisement or is this actually a box in which you get both of these things at once? I assume it's a box that you get both of these things at once. I mean, the scale, but you probably get this on an airplane or something. And they're not giving you a bottle of alcohol that big. It's not happening on an airplane. So this is more reasonable, but yeah, you're like, wait, you just do a double take for a second. Like, oh, hold on. What? This doesn't look right. This doesn't look, it's probably better for the sake of everyone that it's this, but you know, I get it. I hope it wasn't too expensive, but if it was on an airplane or something, that doesn't look like an airplane. That looks like a floor and a wall. So anyway, I hope you weren't bamboozled, but at least you won't regret it in the morning. So anyway, that was it for the last month of Expectation versus Reality. Hopefully you've enjoyed. Make sure to like if you like. Check out the playlist in the description if you want to catch the past one, or you can just watch all the other videos on the channel. Subscribe if you're not already, and I'll see you next time.